Hey guys, how's it going today? As promised, I went and saw Edge of Tomorrow, but as a little added bonus to people who aren't following Eurobloggers on Facebook, which you should definitely go do. Great bunch of people who love movies, comic books, and just about everything that I do. I'm also going to do another review in Son of Batman, but the main attraction is definitely going to be Edge of Tomorrow. I didn't write down a ton of notes with Edge of Tomorrow, mostly because I was with a buddy and I didn't want to be taking out my phone every few seconds and writing down notes. I actually virtually have no notes. Um, but what I can give to you guys was that Edge of Tomorrow was completely sweet. What an awesome movie. Edge of Tomorrow was a goddamn good movie. If you've been thinking about going to see Edge of Tomorrow, you should just definitely do yourself a favor and go see it because the movie's very, 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 very good. Um, I'll just kind of dive into what I liked and what I didn't like. Uh, Synopsis is that some aliens have invaded the world and they have a way to manipulate time that Tom Cruise steals. He lives out the same day over and over and over and over again. Think the plot of Groundhog's Day, but make it a little more deadly. And you've got Edge of Tomorrow. Um, what I did like about Edge of Tomorrow was that the action was very good and consistent, but not in your face. It wasn't the entire movie, which was great. That being said, the action could have been a little better, but whatever. I'm not gonna knock on the movie for not having a ton of action. Um, it had one of the best love stories that I've ever seen inside of an action movie. Usually, action movies try to be all up in your face and everything about it, but Edge of Tomorrow kept it very subtle and understandable, and it was great. It ended very well. Um, the love story, that is. The concept is really cool. Time travel is always a cool concept. Even if you're not moving forward into the future, even just moving back and experiencing time over and over again was really cool a concept. And the way they went about it, where like he would relive the same day in the ways that he would remind you that he kept living the same day, was cool. They'd replay certain scenes, but they'd only flash it by you for a second, and then they would show the outcome, and he'd wake up again. And I really don't have too much to say about Edge of Tomorrow without very detailed notes like I had about Godzilla. What I didn't like about it was the ending was very weak and very strange, if you ask me. This is for people who have seen the movie. Maybe someone can explain it to me in a way that makes sense, but I mean, come on. If the timeline was linear like they presented in the movie, then when he died, he kept waking up in the same period of time over and over and over again. So doesn't it stand up to chance that when he died at the end, he should have woken up where he woke up before, but they can just change the outcome? Is it because he lost the ability and then gained it again? Or did killing the Omega restart a new timeline because the Omega no longer had grip over time's flow and now Tom Cruise did? Or something like that, or something to that effect. I didn't really understand it. I'd have really preferred if the last 5 minutes of the movie wasn't really the last 5 minutes of the movie, and they actually just ended it where Tom killed the Omega, was dying, and then they like had this whole "oh humanity, we won" scene, instead of kind of giving us the feel good scene. It very much took a Dawn, no, not Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead approach. If a lot of you don't know, Day of the Dead's ending was changed. It was originally supposed to be very depressing, where both of the lead characters end up killing themselves, and the credits had the helicopter whirring, and then eventually it would have started to die down and then turn off, proving that even if they got onto the helicopter and escaped, it wouldn't have gotten them very far to begin with. I feel like Edge of Tomorrow's ending was changed to have that feel good moment, to have everybody that we got emotional attachment to back. You know what I mean? Uh, I'd have preferred it if they didn't do that. I don't mind a kind of depressing ending at the every once in a while. Another thing that I didn't like about Edge of Tomorrow was I didn't notice the music at all, which is weird because I guess you could say I was so entertained by the visuals that I didn't hear the music. But I really like it when a soundtrack is prevalent and it makes you feel like Lord of the Rings, for example, or Gladiator. Both have very powerful soundtracks that you have to take note of because they help you feel more. And I didn't hear Edge of Tomorrow soundtrack at all. I can't even recall a tune in my head, which is rare because I really like to listen for sound. Um, Moving off of Edge of Tomorrow, by the way, final thoughts is like it's a 9 to a 9.5 out of 10. Go see the movie if you haven't. Moving on to Son of Batman, which is actually, this is something I've never done before. I'm reviewing something I didn't like. I did not like Son of Batman at all, which is weird considering how much of a Batman fan I am. Not only am I a Batman fan, I'm a Damian Wayne fan. I'm a Deathstroke fan. I'm a Richard Grayson fan. Like, I should have loved this movie, right? No. No, I didn't like this movie at all. And I'll explain to you why. Damian Wayne is not Damian Wayne in that movie. Damian Wayne is someone else that they decided to come up with. I know that you have to change stories to go between mediums. I'm not one of those people who expects perfection out of every single thing. I know they had to manipulate the story alone just to have Bruce be a big part of it. But they changed so much that the reason I like Damian was completely gone. A lot of his growth came from when Richard was Batman, and he learned most of his values from Richard. And Richard was like an oppositional force in this movie. Not to mention, Batman was like brain dead during the entire movie. Like, when I remember someone pointed this out to me before, like when Talia introduced Damian to Bruce, he was like, "This is your son," and Batman's like, "Son?" He Batman did not act in a Batman fashion, and that upset me. Though they did kind of nail the part where Damian's stubborn and he's a lot like his father in that respect, they definitely didn't hit Damian's attitude. Not to mention, they removed one of the best interactions in any sort of medium, in my opinion, which is his rivalry with Tim Drake, who wasn't even in the fucking movie. They're saying that they went from Richard to Damian as far as Robins are concerned. I don't expect every single movie to know that Stephanie Brown was a Robin. But come on, Tim Drake's famous. He's considered the best Robin by many. Not me personally, but by many he's considered to be the best Robin. And you don't even include him in the movie or make a mention of him or anything? Nothing? Nothing? Weak. Bad. Terrible. Awful. Slade was terrible in this movie. And I love Deathstroke. I love many versions of Deathstroke. I'm actually a fan of the Identity Crisis version of Deathstroke, which everyone I think hates, apparently. But this version of Deathstroke was terrible. They changed his origins completely. And they even, down to his eye becoming missing, was Damian's fault. That was weak, sloppy, terrible writing. He was apparently the right-hand man of Ra's al Ghul, or Raish, however you want to pronounce it. And he kicked him out for whatever reason, and now he's back for revenge. And it's nothing like the Deathstroke that we all know. They could have made it so much better that like he was just hired to kill Raish or Ra's. But instead they went with this really weak story that comic book fans I don't think should enjoy at all, and I don't think I've actually seen a person who likes that version of Deathstroke. Son of Batman was very bad for a movie that I was expecting so much out of. The art was kind of atrocious. Sorry to say, it didn't really look like anything like the original story's art, which is usually what DC does. And I have innumerable reasons that I don't like this movie. The voice acting was subpar, and they have tons of great voice actors. Like D. Bradley Baker, who is the Gravemind in Halo 2 and 3. And I love the Gravemind. He's an excellent voice actor. And they made him the voice actor of the Man Bats. Ugh. Ugh, terrible. Jason O'Mara did Batman, and he didn't do that great, in my opinion. Batman didn't sound right. His voice is not gravelly enough, in my opinion. I'm not expecting everybody to be Kevin Conroy, but his voice didn't work for Batman. Like, I mean, even the Brave and the Bold's Batman, who is a very good voice actor, by the way. I'm going to look up who it is very quickly for you. Because I'm sorry I didn't bother myself to learn it. Diedrich Bader? That sounds correct. Diedrich Bader did an awesome job as Batman in Brave and the Bold. He had a correct voice for it. And I do not believe that O'Mara had the voice for Batman. Sorry. Damien's voice was very annoying and bad. Sorry. I mean, this is how I feel. Sean Mayer as Richard Grayson was very good, though. I did enjoy that one. I like that they included Kirk Langstrom, but I dislike the fact that he wasn't Man-Bat in the movie. And I like Man-Bat as a character. I like him as an enemy. I like him as an oppositional force. If I had to give Son of Batman a score, it would be like a 2 or a 3. I went into this movie with high hopes, and I was just, I'll be honest, I fell asleep. I had to rewatch it when I woke up. It was not very good. There's a couple other things I could gripe about, like Talia's boobs needed to be front and center in every frickin' shot she was in, and I'm gonna stop because I'm just berating this movie at this point. I like that they introduced Damian Wayne, and I like that DC had enough interest to introduce an unpopular Robin, or at least I imagine he's unpopular. I haven't heard much of a positive light from him in much of the communities that I'm a part of, but they executed it all wrong. People are going to watch this movie and then look into Damian Wayne's time as Robin, and they're not even going to be similar characters. They're going to be similar in small fashions, but they're going to be drastically different and way too many to actually have a character that they thought they already knew. I'm done. I'm sorry. Son of Batman, 2.5 out of 10. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm probably going to do Hush. I haven't seen Days of Future Past either. I could go see that next Tuesday. Or you guys can make a recommendation and I can try to pick up a comic book while I have some money. But I wouldn't rely too much on that one. Just tell me what you guys want to see, want to hear, want to do, whatever. And I'll try and get it done. Until next time, guys, have a great day.